my friend, and welcome back. My name is Hannah, and today I have a first impressions video for you. I will be trying out the new Kiko bronzer and powder foundation for you guys. I will be saving all my thoughts and opinions till the very end, including my experience using the Kiko Milano website. I didn't purchase these from Ulta. I did get them off of the Kiko website. If these items are available at Ulta, I will have those linked down in the description box as well. And if you're curious about anything else that I'm wearing, I always leave it in the description box. I'm only really talking about the bronzer and the foundation in this video. And if you want to see what I'm doing in other pockets of the internet, I also have that linked down below. But if you'd like to see how I completed this look and what my thoughts and opinions are on these items, please continue watching. This is the base that I'm starting off with, and for me, there's a number of steps that I take before I start putting on my makeup. And that first step is just what my normal skincare, my normal moisturizers are. And I've let that sink into my skin. You know, I'll either like put on my skincare and then go make a cup of coffee, sit down and do my makeup. That's what I did today before I started filming. I don't want to just freshly apply any of like my moisturizers and then sit down, because if I were to put my powder foundation right on top of that, it's gonna get weird. It's not gonna sit properly and it's not gonna set. Another important step is to prime your skin. I'm not particularly a huge fan of primers, but when it comes to a powder foundation, I know that I need a little bit more assistance to get the coverage and the longevity that I'm looking for. But any gripping primer will do. I think it's just up to what your preference is and what you kind of have more mastery using, because I would also suggest that NYX primer, the Plump It Up, Plump Right Back. I think anything that can help you grip your makeup to your skin, that is what you're going to be looking for, because I know there's some people who really love the e.l.f. like putty primer. I'm not particularly a huge fan of that, but I believe that it has the same kind of a gripping claims. In today's video, I'm going to be using the new Kiko, what is this called? Hydrating and Long Lasting Blurring Effect Foundation. I have the shade Light Neutral 2. I bought this off of the Claydos website, and there is no shade description at all. And if you try to use Ulta, there will be multiple shades that say the same thing. Kiko is one of those brands where they use the same shade name for a number of shades. So if you were someone that was a beige neutral, that's your shade in every formula they come out with, or I think that's how they want it to work. But what if you don't know what your shade is? And I don't think Kiko, I've never seen Kiko in my Ulta, so it's not like I could go and just test it out. I have to heavily rely on shade description, so if it's not there, this was fairly difficult. Oh, but this packaging is so cute. Look at that. Look at the compact. I think this is so cute, and I love this lilac color. It doesn't feel like super luxurious, you know, but it doesn't feel super cheap either. Another thing to take into consideration that I don't think that they really advertise when talking about powdered foundations is that you should be getting a shade that's maybe one lighter than your actual skin tone, only because as you go throughout the day, your skin is going to get oily regardless of what kind of skin you have. Like, I know after 8 hours, even if I used the best primer and was, you know, the most hydrated and just, you know, at my peak, my nose would still kind of break up over here. But that's just because after hours and hours, you know, what if I rubbed my nose throughout the day or whatever, you know, especially down the center of your face and where especially in the nose where skin meets skin. And when the oils come out, it's your foundation is going to get darker because right now you're getting that powder moisturized. So it's always important to know what your undertones are, but you can I always go a shade light, but with the same undertone, right? Because your undertone isn't going to change no matter how much moisture you put on a product. You're not going to suddenly go from a warm undertone to a cool undertone or vice versa, you know what I mean? But your shade might change. And I think that's what people will confuse as oxidizing. Once your oils start to come out in your face and the shade is a little bit different, I think just trying maybe a shade lighter, you'll see a difference. So with no shade description on the Kiko site, I'm not quite sure if this is going to be the best for me. I tend to have more of a neutral yellow leaning undertone, So I'm hoping that the light doesn't, I don't know, I hope this isn't too like ashy. I hope this is like the perfect match anyway. I'm going in with the Nabla foundation brush. It's more of like a little dense brush. I prefer something like this when going in with a powder foundation. I think sponges are great for touch-ups, but for application, you really should be going in with a brush. You'll notice that you're not using as much product as if you went in with a sponge. And I'm just kind of pressing and buffing into the skin. I did go in with my concealer already in my under eyes and a little bit on my chin and on my forehead, and I did set it with powder. And this is supposed to be like a blurring effect kind of foundation. I do see a little bit of coverage. I just do pressing and buffing motions to kind of sweep it into the skin. And because I have that gripping primer, it should really help with holding my product in place. Let's see how it holds on my nose. It smells really nice, like I would say almost like cake. It's a little bit it's like a floral vanilla. Does that even make sense? Is that even a thing? Watch it just be like a cake scent. But I swear it has like a little bit of a floral scent, but not like a grandma floral scent where it gives you a headache. It just smells nice. And with powder foundation, you kind of really have to work it into your skin. Not crazy, like I'm not pressing the brush in like really hard into my skin, but I'm making sure that I'm like warming the product to my face so I can really blur in any lines. They advertise this as a blurring foundation, and I mean, I kind of agree. Like my skin does look really nice, really refreshed. This kind of reminds me of a similar finish to the Fenty Eavesdrop, where it's just more of like a satin kind of finish. I really like that. Like it does look a little bit cakey here. Like it definitely looks like I'm wearing product. But I think, because I'll usually set this with a setting spray as well, just to kind of lock in all of my product. So I think once I get to that step, like that won't be as noticeable anymore. Up close, it does look a little bit cakey, but I think once I kind of set everything with my setting spray, it'll kind of emulsify and relax those parts of my face. But already where I'm naturally oily, it's not that it's breaking up, it just looks a bit more cakey there. But I like it so far. It doesn't look too bad. It was pretty easy to apply. I didn't really have to like go too crazy to work it in. I might have to try a bit more of like a denser brush. Maybe this brush is a little bit too soft to really work in the product. But for a first impression, it's not too bad. I also got the Floral Bronzer in shade Golden Honey. There was only 2 shades. This one is the lighter one, and I don't know, Kiko is a Italian indie brand, I believe. And oh, look at the packaging again, so cute. Kiko is an Italian indie brand, but for a lot of their releases, it's kind of been this way for a while. They're not very inclusive within shade range. They kind of release the same shades over and over. So I don't know, I felt like shade 1 was more for the light to medium, and then shade 2 was more for the medium and tan variety. But I don't know, kind of opening it and seeing it in the compact, is this the right one for me? And this is what the compact looks like. It's the same one as the foundation. I kind of like how these two look next to each other. It kind of reminds me of like Polly Pockets. But this is what the bronzer looks like on the inside. So I think this is like good for me right now. We'll see how dark it truly is once we get it on the face. I'm going to go in with this Sigma F53 Air. I kind of get why it's called Golden Honey. It does look very yellow. I thought this would be a bit more cooling. But this is a nice bronzer. It's very easy to apply. And I think the tone is nice. Like, I think this will work with me for spring. I don't know if I could use this in the summer, but definitely in the winter time, it'll look very pretty. It's not, I don't have to go in too crazy. It picks up pretty nicely on the brush. There's not like a whole bunch of fallout or anything. I didn't pick up anything else from this collection. I have a number of blushes coming in. I have enough lip products. I don't need any more eyeshadows. I don't need any face palettes. So those were not things that I was quite looking for. So unless these two products really change my mind, will I consider picking up a blush? But let me finish the rest of my makeup and then we can do a little bit of like a mini check-in and I can give you some of my thoughts and opinions on these items. So this is the finished look. Let me tell you about some of the items that I used off camera. I did go in with this Kiko lip liner. I believe this is in shade 311. I don't know what the shade name is. I just know that the number is 311. It's this really bright pink. I've been loving a bold lip liner and lip gloss combo. I don't know, is that a lip trend people are doing? Or is that something that I'm just doing? I don't know, but I think it looks really cool. Again, cyberpunk makeup. I did go in with the Hella palette. I used the shade River on my lid and I used the green shades to kind of brighten my inner lid, and then I kind of brought a little bit of it in like the arch of my eyebrows, you know, because that's where people would normally highlight, but I just did it with matte colors. I like how it turned out. I overall enjoyed this look. I also went in with the Sounds Grape Super Shock blush. I think it's really pretty, and then I went in with my Nomad highlighter. Okay, so let's talk about some of the items. First things first, I think I want to try with a different brush. This one is just not quite as dense, I think, as I need it to be, but I really like it overall. I do think I used the wrong primer. I'm not a huge fan of this Urban Decay one. It is very ultra glowy, and I think the dewiness of this product is doing weird things with the foundation, only because when I apply these kind of primers, I apply it in the center and work out. So on the outer edges, like there's a little bit of it, but it doesn't look as weird as it does on the inner part of my face. So I can definitely put that on the primer. I don't like how much like the light is catching on, as you see, and it just looks shiny. I like more, again, of a satin finish, something that is like my skin. Otherwise, the powder sits very nicely. I did spray it down with my Professional Super Setter spray. I do want to test the different variables out to see if I can really perfect these products. But right now, I like what I see. The only thing I had an upset with is the shade range. First of all, it's really tiny, and then trying to find the shade that fits you, I would find to be incredibly difficult. I don't think I'm like a pro at like shade matching myself. I think I miss a lot more times than I hit. But I kind of have a basic understanding of how my skin works and what I'm looking for. And even if I did go a shade darker or a shade like one shade too light, I kind of know how to use other products to bring it where I need it. Otherwise, I don't think it's too bad. I was nervous that that bronzer was going to be too light for me, but I think it looks pretty good. I still have to see like my face out in the real world, but I will come back and do like a more like in-depth review. So if you thought about getting the Kiko items, which ones were you interested in? Did you pick up any of the blushes or any of the other products in this collection? Or are you one of those people that kind of forget about Kiko, or you just don't purchase from Kiko? I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.